A few months ago, I made a video where I randomized every Pokemon and moves types, and to say the least, that challenge was really crazy. So I decided to try a similar randomizer challenge, but a little less chaotic. In this video, I made every move completely random, from the base power to the accuracy, to the power points, and even the typing. This means I could have something crazy like a base 150 power Dragon type Tackle, or a base 30 power Bug type Hyper Beam. I'm gonna need to relearn the moves all over again. What crazy movesets can I get by the end? Well, we're about to find out. So for my starter, I picked Charmander, which was completely random since I don't know any of the new typings. Well, I was pretty lucky with my choice since Scratch is a 90 power electric type move. Well, that should be really useful for a while, maybe even for the whole game. As soon as I can start catching stuff, I go to Route 1 and my first encounter is a Pidgey. I don't know if I'd one-shot it, so I just tried catching it immediately and I caught it first try. I don't know how useful it'll be later on since it doesn't learn a ton of attacks, but I did find out that Tackle is a grass type move, so I'm definitely using her for Brock. On the route west of Viridian, I catch Rattata. I gave this thing a lot of disrespect a while back, but I think it's finally time to give it some justice. It also has Tackle, just like Pidgey, but a way bigger move pool. I think it could be really useful until I get Snorlax. Well, I'll get Pidgey to level 9 and see if Gust is anything special. If it isn't, I'll just box it. After a bit, I get Pidgey to level 9 and oh wow, that was unexpected. Maybe I will keep Pidgey for now. Well, Brock went exactly how you'd expect. He has 2 rock ground types and I have powerful grass type moves. You know, this might be a little too OP. I don't know, we'll see in the future. In Mount Moon, I pick up the TM for Bullet Seed, and it's Bug type with base 30 power. Wait, this could actually be really good. I might want to grab a Paris now. Actually, on second thought, Parasect is terrible, so probably not. Maybe Oddish? Or maybe I'll just save it for when I can catch Execute. But I do have to keep in mind that every move is random, so they could all have really bad type coverage. After that, we have to battle Rival 2. There isn't much to say though, I swept his entire team with just Charmeleon. I taught it Mega Punch a little bit ago, which is a pretty strong ghost type move, so it could be really useful. Next is Misty, but I actually lost this fight. Staryu somehow outsped Rattata, so it did about half my health with Rapid Spin. Then, Starmie had no trouble destroying the rest of my team since it has Swift, Water Pulse, and Rapid Spin, which all seem to be doing a lot more damage than normal. Well, it's been a really long time since I last lost to Misty, so I guess it's time to grind. After about 20 minutes, I'm back, this time with Eradicate. I of course start by missing the first turn because of course, but I do one-shot Staryu, so it's all good. I survive Starmie's Rapid Spin, so I do good damage with Tackle, then just use Scratch from Charmeleon to win the battle. With that, I get Water Pulse, a base 100 flying type move. I'm definitely saving this for a water type. Maybe Gyarados since Magikarp is easy to get, and because it's part flying. Anyway, speaking of that, as soon as I get to Vermilion, I catch a Magikarp. Do I think it'll be useful when it evolves? Possibly. Am I looking forward to getting it to that level? No, not at all. Alright, time for Rival 3. Magikarp gained a few levels from switch training, but I'm not planning on using it for Surge. For Pidgeotto, I switched to Nidorino and used Poison Sting, a 95 base power ice type move, so basically Ice Beam, and it goes down. For Wartortle, I switched to Pidgeotto and take it out with a few grass tackles. Third is Eradicate, so I just keep Pidgeotto in and chip it down until it faints. Last is Kadabra, but it has bad defense and just goes for a Confusion that does basically nothing. I wonder how weak that move is in this randomizer. So for Surge, I was worried about being hit by electric moves, so I quickly caught and trained up a Diglett until it evolved. Well, I found out that it has Sand Tomb, a 145 base power dark move. Is that too OP? I'll let you be the judge. But he still was pretty annoying since Raichu did its favorite tactic, spamming Double Team and paralyzing me. Man, the devs must have been having a bad day when making this guy's moveset. And of course, Shockwave is a 55 power normal move. Well, you can't win them all, I guess. Nothing really important or interesting happened on the way to Celadon as usual, but I did get Magikarp to finally evolve. He should be really useful with Flying type Water Pulse, especially for the next gym. I also make sure to grab Psychic in Saffron City, and yay, that really sucks. Well, not all is lost, because I also made sure to grab the free EV from the top of the building, which I almost never get during these playthroughs for some reason. I decided to evolve it into Jolteon. I really hope this wasn't the wrong choice, because I'm doing this just because it learns Pin Missile, which could be a really strong attack. Anyway, Erica was a complete sweep with Gyarados. Water Pulse being a 100 power flying type with Stab meant that she couldn't stand a chance. I think this is one of the few times where Gyarados has ever been able to use a strong and reliable flying type move. Okay, let's see how Giovanni goes. And yeah, he was also an easy win. Kangaskhan did take quite a while since Peck isn't a really strong fighting type move, and I probably should have just used Eradicate with its 150 power Fire type Hyper Fang, but it didn't really matter. And after that, it's time to fight Rival 4. I lead with Charmeleon to one-shot both his Pidgeotto and Wartortle, then switch to Gyarados and completely sweep the rest of his team. This might be a Charizard and Gyarados duo run. I'm just kidding, that would be really boring. I'm gonna try to use as many members as possible. Once I get the Pokeflute, I immediately go to Route 12 to catch Snorlax. It can learn a lot of moves by TM, so I'm interested to see what type coverage it can get. Hopefully it doesn't get too many special moves though, because its special stat isn't really good, like Headbutt being Dragon type. Okay, let's head to Fuchsia City. Well, after the Safari Zone, I ended up finding out that Surf is a strong Bug type move. You know, even though Bug isn't a great type, having reliable coverage for Psychic is huge. I might just not get Execute at all. I mean, at this point, Bullet Seed is kind of useless now. Oh yeah, and I also found out that Pin Missile is a 70% accurate grass move with 25 base power. Yeah, evolving Eevee into Jolteon was a mistake. Well, I'm not really in the mood to train up any more Pokemon, so let's just take on Koga with Charizard, Snorlax, Gyarados, and Nidoking. I think it should still be an easy win. Koga time. Coughing is barely not a one-shot with Nidoking's 95 power Poison Sting, which sucks, so I switch to Gyarados and use Flying Pulse to take it out. I do the same for Coughing number 2 and it survives on 1 HP and uses Smoke Screen, so I miss the next turn, but then I get the good range after that. For Muck, I use my Ground-type Hydro Pump to bring him to half health, then he uses Minimize. Surprisingly, I still hit the next turn. This move only has 70 accuracy, mind you. Last is Weezing, but it was an easy 2-shot with Water Pulse. Man, this move is so good. Right after that, I found out that the Steel Wing TM I picked up in the Safari Zone was a 150 base power Psychic type move. Well, I should have checked my TM bag before fighting Koga. I don't know how I always do this. So I know that I'm going to need Pokemon with good move pools in order to have the best coverage for the Elite Four, so I backtracked to catch a Clefairy in Mount Moon since I still have an extra Moonstone. I'm probably not going to use him much or evolve it for a while, but I want to see what moves it can learn. Let's go beat Rival 5 now. Well, surprisingly, I was able to solo him with just Charizard. I didn't expect this run to be so easy. The only really notable thing that happened was his Blastoise using a strangely powerful Rapid Spin. I don't think there are any FireRed Pokemon that can learn Rapid Spins, so I guess I'll never know its type or power. After beating him, I get Lapras. Its only attack so far, Body Slam, is complete garbage, but I'll train it up a bit to see if it learns any worthwhile moves. Right after that is the second Giovanni fight. The battle starts off fantastically with me missing Hydro Pump twice in a row before one-shotting Nidorino. Then, his Kangaskhan goes down with a crit Water Pulse as it just uses Tail Whip. Rhyhorn is an easy one-shot with Tackle, then finally his Nidoking just decided to use Tail Whip twice, instead of, you know, actually taking advantage of my lower defense. This guy really needs to step down as leader. Now I normally don't get the fighting type from the dojo since it's kind of out of the way, but this time I grab a Hitmonchan. It gets access to more moves by level up than Hitmonlee, which is more potential for good move coverage. The only issue is that its special attack is 35. It might still be useful though. Anyway, the reason why I was so happy that Surf was Bug type was almost entirely because of Sabrina. Bug is a physical type in Gen 3 and she has poor defense, so with Snorlax, I was able to easily destroy most of her team besides Venomoth. Charizard did have a bit of trouble fighting it since it had Gust, which as we saw earlier is a 140 power water type move, so that was fun. There's quite a lot of stuff we can get right before Blaine though, so I'm pretty excited. Okay, so there were some disappointments and some wins. Blizzard and Solar Beam are both pretty terrible, being Poison and Grass type respectively with worse power. The Elemental Punches were nothing great either, as they were all special. However, I restored the Ammonite in the lab, and Constrict is a fighting type move with 100 base power. Well, that actually could be pretty useful. Blaine was an interesting fight. I tried using my 145 power Water Punch on Growlithe only for it to do a little over half its health. Yeah, Hitmonchan's special attack is that bad. I take it out the next turn, but I go down to Arcanine's Takedown. I switch to Nidoking and use his Takedown again, doing almost all of my health, so it's Psychic type. For Ponyta and Rapidash, I just use Gyarados to take them out easily since they don't seem to have any good moves for it. Finally, we have Giovanni. I lead with Nidoking to one-shot his Rhyhorn. Poison Sting does about 2/3 of Nidoqueen's health, as it also uses Poison Sting to deal half my health. I take it out the next turn, and third is Nidoking, but it outspeeds and takes me out with Thrash. I switch to Gyarados, and he's locked into Thrash, so I find out that it's ground type. I finish off the rest of his team with Gyarados with ease. I might need to look into teaching Nidoking Thrash. That could actually be pretty useful. It does mean that I'll have to do the Sevi Island side quest though. Well, after a lot of mashing the A button, it's time to fight Rival 6. I found out that Thrash is a base 90 power ground type attack, so I made sure to steal a ton of mushrooms and then teach it to Gyarados and Nidoking. I also found out that Meteor Mash is a 125 power ice move, so that's amazing. I also got a Ponyta, which has better moves than Snorlax, so I decided to replace it. Anyway, the rival was super easy. I was never in any danger. As is usual with these team runs, and as you probably have seen, I'm underleveled, so I spent a few hours grinding up the team. I'm not really sure how easy this is going to be because of how weird our move coverage is, but I think it still shouldn't be too bad. Let's do this. First is Lorelei, and my god, was this an annoying fight. I led with Gyarados for Dugong, but Tackle wasn't doing as much as I hoped. I tried Water Pulse, and it did over half. Second is Jinx, but it has terrible physical defense, and it thankfully missed Sweet Kiss, so I one-shot it. Third is Slowbro, but it used Yawn, so it survived on 1 HP of course as I fell asleep. I switched to Clefable, and of course it uses Yawn again because why wouldn't it? And I fall asleep, but just decide to wait it out until I wake up. For Lapras, I just let Clefable faint, then have Nidoking do about half its health, then finish it off with Charizard's Scratch, which actually almost didn't work because of my bad luck. Last is Cloyster, but it's obviously a one-shot with Scratch. Man, it sounds so weird narrating this. Second is Bruno, so I lead with Gyarados and one-shot his Onix with Tackle. Then his Hitmonchan is a one-shot with Water Pulse, and then his Hitmonlee was also a one-shot, but it did manage to get in a Facade, which I'm guessing is Rock type from the damage it did. Of course, his second Onix is also a one-shot, and then Machamp outspeeds and takes me out, so I switch to Clefable and use Sing, which is 95 accuracy now. Then use Dream Eater, which is unfortunately only 70 power, so it takes a while to finish the fight. Third is Agatha. I lead with Hitmonchan since it has strong physical attacks. Ghost-type Mega Punch only does about 40% of its health though, so I try for Mach Punch, which is a base 145 power steel move with priority, and it barely survives on 1 HP again because why wouldn't I get a good range? She heals, then I do get the good ranges the next 2 hits. For Haunter, I get a Mach Punch before going down, then use Charizard's 150 power Psychic Steel Wing to rip through the rest of her entire team. At the end, Gengar did manage to get in a Hypnosis and almost make me faint, but I woke up at the very last turn and one-shot it. Fourth is Lance. I one-shot Gyarados with 1 Scratch, and then for Dragonair, I was contemplating switching, but I decided to stick with Charizard and use Steel Wing since it's really strong. It brings Dragonair to low health, then I take it out. His second Dragonair follows suit as it just misses Thunder Wave. I actually outspeed the Dragonite, so I get in 2 Metal Claws, and I thought I'd get in a 3-shot, but I forgot it as a Citrus Berry, so yay! I still have Clefable though, and it's got a 125 power Ice-type Meteor Mash. Surprisingly, it doesn't one-shot it though, so it takes some time to take it out. Last is Aerodactyl, so once Clefable faints, I use Mach Punch, then finish it with Nidoking's Poison Sting. And finally, we have the champion. He leads with Pidgeot, so I use 2 Meteor Mashes to take it down. Second is Executor, but it outspeeds and gets a big Egg Bomb on me before I can attack. He takes me out the next turn, so I finish it with a Heat Wave from Charizard. Third is Rhydon, so I switch to Rapidash. Wow, first time I'm actually using it. It has Fire Spin, which is ironically a 100% accurate 80 power Ice-type move. It still doesn't even do half of Rhydon's health though, so it's still alive by the time I faint. I switch to Nidoking to take it out. Fourth is Arcanine, so I switch to Gyarados to lower its attack as it uses a ground-type bite. Unfortunately, Water Pulse isn't doing half of its health, so I have to waste a few of his full restores, which takes a long time. His extreme speeds don't do much, but they add up over time, and I need Gyarados' Bug-type Surf for Alakazam, so I switch to Hitmonchan, but of course it's completely useless and just goes down. I have to switch back to Gyarados, and I'm on 9 HP by the time I take it out. That's not good. What do I do for Alakazam now? Well, just use Surf because it goes for Future Sight. Oh yeah, I forgot, he always just spams that. I don't know why that's his favorite move. Anyway, last is Blastoise, but this thing is a tank. I go down, then use Charizard. It outspeeds, and even though it has a Citrus Berry, I bring it to red health, and then it uses Skull Bash, his ultimate mistake. Now, he can't heal, and I get the finishing blow with my first ever move, Scratch. And that's it. I beat Pokemon in a world where every single move's power typing, accuracy, and power points were completely random. This was a really crazy challenge. It was really weird and funny that some of my first moves like Scratch ended up sticking until the very end, and then other moves like Flamethrower were completely useless. This definitely wasn't as chaotic as the random types video, but I think that's actually better as things weren't too unpredictable. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to subscribe. I love doing these weird Pokemon challenges and have plenty more in the future. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.